I'm sorry.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go into roll call. Mr. Lincoln. Here. Mr. Kaag. Here. Mr. Shaver. Here. Mr. Becker. Here. Mr. Wert. Here. Ms. Bressler.
Here.
Ms. Drobnick.
Here.
Mayor Kaag.
Here.
Mr. Murray.
Here.
Borough Council did not have an executive session today, so you can ignore that part of your agenda. We do not have any agenda amendments, and we'll go right into commendations. And I believe that we have a few of them. So, Mayor Kaag.
Ryan, do you want to help me?
Sure.
Ooh.
Sorry, I thought you were going the other way. You're in a blind spot.
Fred Geiger. So the first one is for Fred Geiger, and it says, whereas Mr. Fred Geiger served the Borough of West Reading community from July 12, 2010 to August 14, 2023 as Borough Representative on the Wyoming Joint Municipal Authority, and whereas Fred Geiger and as an appointed representative served as treasurer for the Joint Municipal Authority from January 14, 2013 through August 14, 2023.
Whereas Fred Geiger exemplified outstanding community service with honesty and integrity in his public service to the residents and taxpayers of the Borough of West Reading.
Now, therefore, I, Samantha Kaag, Mayor of West Reading, on behalf of the residents and council members of the Borough of West Reading, do hereby recognize, give special tribute to, and commend most highly Fred Geiger for his outstanding contribution to the Borough of West Reading, and I congratulate his family on his behalf and bestow on them this commendation as a token of thanks to all his efforts towards improving the community.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, give us a second.
Yeah, that's his brother Clay.
The second one is to Mark Radcliffe.
Mark, last meeting we had to do this. Well, maybe not last meeting, but whereas Mark Radcliffe has served our community as the West Reading Community Revitalization Foundation's Main Street Manager from June 9th, 2017 to, I'm assuming, December 31st of this year. And whereas Mark Radcliffe has demonstrated an unwavering commitment and effort towards making the Borough of West Reading a better place to live and reside in, while also being instrumental with shaping and driving the Penn Avenue corridor's success. And whereas Mark Radcliffe has overseen festivals that bring tens of thousands of visitors to the borough, has secured hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant funding, all while managing the day-to-day needs of the borough's vibrant Main Street.
Whereas Mark Radcliffe has exemplified outstanding community service with honesty and integrity in his public service to the residents, the businesses, and the stakeholders in the borough. Now, therefore, I, Samantha Kaag, Mayor of West Reading, on behalf of the residents and council members of the Borough of West Reading, do hereby recognize, give special tribute to, and commend most highly Mark Radcliffe for his outstanding contribution to the Borough of West Reading, and I thank him for his family. I thank him and his family, and bestow on him this commendation as a token of thanks for all his efforts in the community. This last one is to Dean Murray.
Hey.
This time we came prepared with family.
It's a little packed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sure. I'll read it first. All right, Dean, our fearless leader for 30 years now. Whereas Dean Murray, a West Reading native and resident from 1977 to 2008, has served our community in numerous capacities over the last 30 years, rising from a part-time public works crew member in 1993 to a full-time crew member in 94, to crew leader in 2005, to public works director in 2010, to borough manager in 2021. And whereas Dean followed up his service to the United States Navy with serving his community for decades as a member of West Reading Fire Department, joining in 1992, appointed as lieutenant in 2003, second assistant fire chief in 2006, and first assistant fire chief in 2008.
And whereas Dean has demonstrated an unwavering commitment and effort towards making the borough of West Reading a better place to live and reside in during his 3 decades of leadership, proving time and time again to be a valued and trusted member of our borough. And whereas Dean Murray has exemplified outstanding community service with 3 golden decades of honesty and integrity in his public service to the residents and taxpayers of the borough of West Reading. Now therefore, I, Samantha Kaag, Mayor of West Reading, on behalf of the residents and council members of the borough of West Reading, do hereby recognize, give special tribute to, and commend most highly Dean Murray for his outstanding contribution to the borough of West Reading. And I thank him and his family and bestow on him this commendation as a token of thanks for all his efforts towards improving our community. Use the feet up right because I totally butchered that today. It's all good. I'm so sorry. I practiced it before I came too.
So Dean, also on behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we have a citation from you as well, recognizing with 30 years, you've committed 30 years to making our West Reading area such a better place to work with and live. So it reads as follows. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania House of Representatives citation, whereas Dean Murray, a graduate of Wyoming High School and from his career at the Technology Center, attending the Culinary Arts Program, and whereas Dean Murray, who served in the United States Navy from December 1988 to July 1992, serving abroad the USS Abraham Lincoln, and whereas Dean Murray joined the West Reading Volunteer Fire Department in August of 1992, serving in several capacities, including First Assistant Chief, and has earned his life membership with the West Reading Volunteer Fire Department. And whereas Murray was first hired by the Borough of West Reading in the summer of 1993, before taking a full-time position in January of 1994 as a crewman, becoming crew leader in 2005. And whereas Dean Murray was appointed as Public Works Director in July of 2010 and interim Public Works Manager in May of 2021, and whereas Dean Murray was appointed as the West Reading Borough Manager in December of 2021 and earned certified borough official recognition in June 2023, and now therefore be it resolved that the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania commends Dean Murray on his dedication and commitment to the borough of West Reading and celebrates his 30 years of service, and directs a copy of the citation sponsored by Johannes Freitas on today, December 19th, be transmitted to Dean Murray.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Man of little words. More of action. Family can go now. If you want.
All right, we're kicked out. Sorry.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming out. Dean's running out of room for these commendations.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, well now you can see why we were super cagey and only put commendations on the agenda. So, at this time, I will open the floor to public comment. Mr. Rogers.
Council. Saturday evening, around 11:40 or so. What always happens is it's a non-emergency, so we press number 2. One. And after 16 rings, I got county radio. And went to the lady. It seemed to be no problem. mentioned Spray Motor Club, she said, oh, 416 Penn Avenue. That's easy. So she took my name and so forth, and said that also called me, but with all I'm in the bedroom watching Penn Avenue, which are parking lot. Officer shows up. Music stopped. 12 after 12. I don't know what you people like to do on a Saturday night, but sometimes I think I'd like to go to bed. This is a second time. 2 weeks prior to that, it was 20 to 1. Now I'm going to start. And the other thing, I called the police department on Monday to get a copy of my incident report. I was told I have to fill out a right to know my complaint.
Yeah, that's pretty standard across the board. Right to knows are non-discriminate. They don't care who you are and what you're asking for, provided that you're just asking for the information.
No, but my concern was that I'm the person who instituted the initial call to the
Still, yeah.
I have to follow to find out what my initial complaint was.
Mr. Rogers, I've had to do the same exact thing.
Okay.
I've had to do the same exact thing for my own calls.
For your own call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That you wanted to find out if there was any action.
I wanted to see what the log said.
I think the biggest, Jim, I think the biggest thing is because you were requesting a document. You were asking for a copy of it. So there you have to file the right to know just so that way we can provide it.
Oh, yeah, that's the legal didn't explain.
Yep.
The other item I have on my agenda, I talked to Mr. Hunt, give you an update on the business privilege tax. We're now up to 708 accounts. Back in 140 new accounts. The other unusual part is 307 of those accounts are quickly 43% of everybody who owes us money for the business privilege tax has gone to the collecting agents. There's something wrong there. Or we have somebody on the ball with the money and his group. And some information on how to supply them with. Things are moving along, I think. And hopefully we're going to get all the money that we're entitled to that's been sitting on the shelf all these years. All these years that's been missing. I mean, there's some of the businesses on Penn Avenue. I'll give you a quick example. Wendy's. Wendy's was bought and sold. The new owners, they paid with the corporation who owns that site. Dean, how long has Wendy's been in West Reading since you're in your 30s?
Since I was a kid.
86.
Since way before that. Yeah, it's 85, 86.
And they've been in business all those years. The corporation, because they're renting it, and paid nothing. So, there you go. We'll see what happens to the new year. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Karen, I think you had your hand raised.
Karen, 211 Sycamore Road. I wanted to thank the team who started and completed everything. The mayor, Dean, for the Geiger accommodation, the recognition for his years, also for Mark for all his time he's put in, and for my bonus son, Dean. So, thank you for showing the respect that elders who put in all the years, not Dean, he's not an elder.
Some days it feels like.
Thank you for showing the respect that should be shown to people who have put in the time in this borough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Ty.
Just want to say thanks to the group of people that cleaned up after Santa Crawl the other night. I was on 3rd Ave. Spruce was packed to the gills, covered trash the next morning, and there was a group of officials that had a group check on the crew together and went out there, cleaned up the avenue, cleaned up around 3rd and Spruce and stuff. So appreciate that.
And thank you to Dean and our public works for helping out with that. Ryan was great at coordinating that, so thank you guys.
Yeah, we hit Penn Avenue afterwards. We've talked with the organizers, so that won't happen
Yeah,
again.
that's fine.
It'll be rectified for next year. So, anyone else for public comment? Tina.
Have a client that was in yesterday and today, and they had asked me what I knew about the lighting, so I don't really dig down or more positive. But they're residents, and they said that they've called MedEd several times. They called here, we're told to call MedEd. In fact, the one client in today, she said her dad's called 16 times. They're told to get out, get the phone number off the phone, and then repeat. And then she said, driving around, there's so many lights that are out. I know we're patiently waiting for lights on Penn Avenue, but there isn't anything that Borough Council, Dean, or somebody can do to get the lighting. She's worried about the safety.
Oh, Penn Avenue lights. I mean,
Yeah,
KT. That's
I think we're
Public
down
Works.
to 2 left that we're not getting power to them. We gotta figure out why we're not getting power to them. But we worked on last week, then we had the rain this week, so we'd like to get that back out hopefully tomorrow, the next day. But I think we only have 2 left up there that's not working.
Yeah, no, I'm speaking
One's-
for the residents. I mean, I told them to come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we report them to MedEd just like the residents do, and we're kind of waiting on the utilities to fix their own poles. We pay for the electric, but they don't, it's like a list that they have to get around to everybody. And I don't know how many employees they have to do all that. So I can reach back out to them and see if I can find out.
Yeah, because we don't own those poles, correct?
No, we
So
don't own
they're
those
the only
poles.
ones that are allowed to do that.
Yeah,
But
we
don't
own the ones on Penn Avenue and then also up in Belovich.
Yes. And like I said, I think we have one in the 500 block and one in the 300 block of Penn Avenue. We're getting no electric to the poles. We're actually gonna have to end up probably running new wires down and into it.
We're getting new headlights. We're getting
The headlamps, yeah, through that grant.
Yep.
Correct.
So this was just for residents, and they said that a lot of lights in the community, and I'm like, I'll ask, you would think somebody has power to get all of them at it.
Nope, we do not.
Some kind of connection.
Nope.
I would say, Dan, that would also fall under PUC.
Oh,
If they would
they
like to
are.
file a complaint with the PUC.
They can, they absolutely can. So the PUC will have a complaint line that you can find online, that you can file complaints with them, that they're not being responsive. Right, I don't think it would be get too much action, Tina, to be honest with you, but they have other things that they're chasing down. But certainly worth, if enough people are complaining about it, it might get their attention.
I think she was worried about her dad falling.
Sure, but it's legit. I mean, I get it.
I haven't looked for a while. I'll just say real quick. I know, like, I was on vacation last year in Ocean City, New Jersey, and, you know, because I'm a weirdo, and there was a street light out in front of my rental. I went onto the power company's website where they allowed you to, like, just report the light out, and it was a very easy process. And there was somebody there like 7 a.m. the next day that, like, fixed it. And then the landlord who lived upstairs, you know, commented. I said, "Oh, that was me." Like, you know, wait, huh? You know, the point I'm trying to make is there might be a reporting tool on their website, because the folks in New Jersey, it was like, it took me 2 minutes to report that light, went into their system. We're not talking about a telephone call here. We're talking about something that's popping up in somebody's system at work, and is like that has to send that person out there in the truck. I know I reported one earlier in the year in my alley. It got really dark, and I went out and I climbed up the pole, but I got a step ladder because some of the tags are high. I took a picture of it, and I called and I reported it, and it was like 3 days, maybe. So the poll numbers are really crucial. Yeah. You know, if you give them like the corner of this and that, it's going to be a slower process. If you get that number, tell that person, you know, I mean, you know, get that number, go out there during the day, get a little step ladder, get it nice and clear, and then call, or see if they've got an online tool that allows you to report it. They may, in fact, do. I don't know. Maybe Chris Lincoln can look right now. That's what he's doing.
There is actually an online that the residents can jump on and do it, because I know several people like down on 2nd Avenue have done it, or they'll just call Steph or Cindy up at the front desk with the poll number, and we report it the same way as what a resident can do.
Yep. Ironically, I had the same issue at Ryan's old house.
Yeah, it took me a month or two after I submitted for them to finally come because I think UGI or somebody backed into the poll and it was left laying there for a little while. So it took a little bit to get it accomplished, but I did the same thing, filled out the form online.
There is something on MedEd's website.
Anyone else for public comment? Anyone online? Seeing no hands raised, I will close the floor to public comment and open up the approval of the minutes. So before you, you have the November 21st regular meeting and the November 28th second meeting. There are no questions. I'm looking for consideration to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Drobnick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to ordinances and resolutions. First one up is consideration to authorize the advertisement of an amendment to relocate a parking space within the 400 block of Chestnut and also add a handicap parking space in the 300 block of Linden. Does anybody have any questions on that one?
That did come through traffic and infrastructure. The committee did recommend approval of those two.
Everyone's good with it? Just looking for a motion.
So
Motion made by Mr. Lincoln, second by Mr. Wert. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I thought I heard you make the motion.
Sure.
All right. Next up is one-way streets and stop sign intersections. Blake, if you're listening, you'll enjoy this. Well, we're authorizing the advertisement of amendments to the list of one-way streets and stop intersections to include Holland Square and Juniata Street. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Just some background on that one. We did, staff coordinated with PennDOT's LTAP program. They came out and did the required studies to implement those changes and recommended the
Blake Nexus.
Recommended that one-way flow be instituted in both of those locations. What I would suggest as part of a motion would be to have staff reach out to the residents affected so they're aware of it as it's going through the advertising process. And make sure there's no concerns. I don't imagine there would be. They were both resident requests.
And I believe that you were going to reach out to Why Missing just to let them know also to see if they want to follow suit.
Yes.
Yeah, I did reach out and let the borough manager from Why Missing already know, and then I was going to touch on it more with her next week in our meeting.
Yeah, so PennDOT recommended, since if we're going to do our half of Holland Square, that Why Missing follow suit. Regardless of what they decide, that doesn't impede what we're doing on our side, really. It would just be more consistent if they did it also. So,
any questions on that ordinance? Seeing none, looking for consideration to authorize the advertisement.
so moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is ordinance 1176, membership of the Planning Commission. Last meeting, we opted to reduce the number of members on Planning Commission from 9 to 7. In doing so, it will also decrease the amount of council members on there from 3 to 2. So we advertised last meeting, but now we're looking for consideration to adopt the amendment to the Planning Commission membership.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is ordinance 1177, the tax rate adjustment. So this would be consideration of adopting an amendment to the general purpose tax rate. So the tax rate for general purposes will bump up to 9.25 mils. The fire protection services stay the same at 2.85, and infrastructure will be at 1 mil still. Does anybody have any questions on that? Otherwise, looking for approval. Motion made by Mr. Wert.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kaag. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the water rate amendment, ordinance 1178. So we're looking to consider the adoption of an amendment to the water rates. As we're well aware through the budget process, Western Berks Water Authority raised their rates. And unfortunately, this year we cannot absorb their rate adjustment. So we are passing it along. Does anybody have any questions on that? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is ordinance 1179, parking prohibited at all times. which this would prohibit parking on Court Street and Plain Alley. Court Street was blocked for 2 blocks, but not a third. So this rectifies that, I believe. And then Plain Alley is a weird like triangle between Sunset and Sycamore. There we go. Linden Lane and Sycamore. There we go. Does anybody have any questions on that? Looking for approval.
Mr. Rogers, it's right here. There you go.
All of Court Street, 400 to 800.
In the ordinance title, it says Plain Alley between Sunset Road and Sycamore, but in the body of the ordinance, it says Linden Lane and Sycamore.
I think the properties on fronting or backing up to that alley are on Sunset and Sycamore. It runs from Linden Lane down to Sycamore.
That would be why.
So I think technically the ordinance that we have already is just says from Linden Lane to Parkview Road. So we're extending it from the rest of the way from Parkview Road all the way down to Sycamore Road because it comes down through and then it bends out on the Sycamore.
Do we want that to be the same?
We can. If you want to make that motion to amend that, do we have to re-advertise if we're making an amendment?
I don't think so, because I don't think it's a substantive change. That's what the intent was all along.
Yeah.
It's just clarifying what the language is for. That's all.
So looking for consideration of adopting ordinance 1179 with the mentioned change to the clarification to the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is resolution 2023-30. It is the extension of the local disaster emergency down on 2nd Avenue. So we will keep that up as long as they are continuing to work down there. Does anybody have any questions? This will be through January 16th council meeting. Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Drobnick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is resolution 2023-31. It's consideration to adopt an amendment to the business privilege license annual fee. Chad, since this rolls under codes, do you want to touch on that quick? Or business privilege? Never mind. Then Dean.
It's changing it from 35 to the.
Sorry, it says fee schedule code department. So.
Yeah,
sorry, I was not prepared to speak on that.
That's okay.
It's updating it from before it was
$35
for the BPL. So we did that in the
to 50.
right, correct.
The code doesn't touch that money ever, by the way. Just,
right.
They don't issue the letters or anything like that. But
quick question on that. I think the letters from Mr. Hunt and Berkheimer already went out for 2024.
I got mine.
State $35.
Yes.
So
I thought,
how are we gonna?
I got mine last week.
Same.
well, we had reached out to him prior to that. We will have to talk to him.
So we don't cause confusion.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we communicated that before that. Okay. Yeah.
Do we want to make a motion to approve it, or do we want to table until we have further clarification?
I'm just not sure how
If you already built
we communicate that to people that already received them, unless Berkheimer is going to send a second round, which is going to cause more confusion.
It will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not due until April, I guess, right?
I can guarantee you some people have already paid the 35 to get the license. I'm almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Did it for the $50. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Why do you table it until you get the information?
I'll reach out to Jim tomorrow.
We go with tabling?
Yep.
Yes.
No motion on that action item then. All right, so that does it for ordinances and resolutions. So we will move into our consultants reports. Dan, do you have anything for us?
No, sir.
All right, so that means we'll turn it over to Ms. Pamela for the engineer's report.
Evening. First thing, the 2024 road project. Last month we discussed Perk Alley, and Chip Perninsney had met with KT, and it's the first in the budget construction cost estimate. So we did listen, so that's on board, and we're thinking it's going to be pulled in the February meeting for award. So we'll work out the calendar when the bids are open and work with you, Dan, as well. Greenlight Go, the 8-year application. We're working with traffic planning and design. That's moving forward. The year 9 application, the pre-scoping application went in for their amount of $193,521.20 and the borough match of $48,380.30. And these would be for 7th Avenue and Parkside Drive North, 7th Avenue and Reading Avenue, and the very confusing intersection of 8th Avenue, Hill Avenue, and Reading Avenue. And I believe that is the intersection that is the oldest of the traffic signals. So we're trying to bring what we can up to modifications without spending, I think it was $250,000 more or so. So it wasn't worth it. So we're just trying to bring everything up. You know, the pedestrian push buttons and the visibility and all the other safety features we can. That's that. No action on the security grant contract. Dean and I are working with Berkshire Systems to get the contract signed before the end of the year. So they've been a little slow. Pickleball court, that's nothing to do really with the borough, as it's the association's project. When's the door coming? Because I was going to be the first to press the button.
January 29th. January 29th is the last update that I got.
I'm going to mark that on my calendar.
But that's delivery. I don't think I'm sure a date.
Okay, well, you're going to let me know.
Will do.
All right. Nothing for Ann Street multimodal grant application. Let's see where the other one is that we just got. It's later. Okay, I'll surprise you later. Parking lots, no update. The contracts, tomorrow I'll be dropping off some information for Cindy and Dean on both the hauling and then the disposal or landfill. So those are all working towards official contracts, and Dan, you'll receive a scanned copy of both. There was a little quirkiness on the Olive Street pump station flow.
Yes.
Do you have any insight into that?
Oh, yeah.
Something catch up?
We had a sewer block, and there's a little tricky situation up there where we have a pressurized main goes and dumps in the 4th and Reading, and there's an overflow that pushes it back down. So we had them running, and actually overheated one of my pumps up there when I had to go up there and play with the pumps for a while to get them back up and running.
So actually burned out the motor? Or
No. There's a overheats on them that prevents them from burning out. Ended up really what happened on top of it, we had a switch that's been in there 20-some years that went bad. I've had a hard time finding it, but there's other things in there we don't use, so we robbed Peter to pay Paul.
And for everybody's information, that's what we're talking about. See the big blip? So that tells us something went wrong. KT figured it out because this is the normal one.
Yes.
Right. No real blip. Okay, just so everybody understands what KT and I are chatting about. Sometimes the sewage gets backed up too and will overflow at the meter point.
Yeah, and what happened, it went back where it dumps in, it pumps back down. So that thing was just recycling itself. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sticky paper here. Now I think it's the good news. We were awarded a grant today through the H2O in the amount of $269,500 for the 500 block of Spruce Street waterline replacement project. So great job. We're looking forward to that. And maybe the January 8th when we set up different projects to talk about, I'll bring Karen along to start that grant.
Sure.
So that's really good news.
I think it goes without saying to thank Johanni's office and Senator Schwenk's office for backing us and helping us acquire those grants.
All good news. And she's also been working, Karen B. She's working with Stara and some other things of the joint effort with the surrounding communities. So that's also another good thing to get some services at a very low cost because we are sharing the overall projects. And zoning and code enforcement, nothing of action. I just brought bagels today, so hopefully it was in a food bagel coma along with the upstairs office. Otherwise, that's all I have tonight, except to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and may you and your families and friends have a blessed holiday and a safe and happy New Year.
See you too.
Thank you.
Any questions on the engineer's report? Seeing none, looking for approval. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up is Council President's report. I have nothing other than things that are already on the agenda, but I do just want to take the time to thank Chris and Jen for what is likely their last council meetings, sadly. But you both have made such an impact on council as a whole. I'm really proud of this body just in general, but you know, you guys don't always see eye to eye on everything, but I appreciate that about you both. I really do.
It's been a great experience. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you both for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, Ryan. At the end, I'm going to get my crack.
I've penciled in 15 minutes for you, Phil.
25.
All right. We can move along into the borough manager's report. I'll keep that short and sweet. Dean, you're up.
All right, so as every month, I try to keep them short. So I started out with 3 and ended up with 6. So we'll work with it. The one's already been done by Pamela anyway. So the first one is consideration to ratify the borough solicitor's involvement with real estate tax assessment appeals. That's the one we talked about, Attorney Muir.
Correct.
Working with the school district on our behalf.
Do we have any questions on that action item? Seeing none, looking to ratify the solicitor's involvement with the real estate tax assessment appeals.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Is that getting to a point where things are moving?
It is.
In some fashion?
It is, yep. So we'll hopefully have more information for you shortly.
Not for me.
Well, right.
All right, second action item. So last month I had asked to get permission to send out letters to solicit for auditors for our yearly work because Mally was raising the rate. So we wanted to just make sure we had competitive prices. 90% of the people out there aren't taking on new clients because of being able to have the employees to do it. We did have one person get back to us that they gave us numbers for, but they were more than Mally. So I need consideration of appointing an auditor, which is staying with Mally, who we had for the past few years, several years.
And we haven't been able to get them to reduce their proposal.
No, we tried.
Didn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions on that? Seeing none, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Third action item is consideration of authorizing the advertisement of the 2024 meeting schedule.
You'll have that before you. We'll advertise it in the paper, plus we'll put it up on the website and everything else. But first meeting starts January 2nd. It is a reorganization year, so we will be meeting at 6 o'clock then, but then regular council meetings back at 7, and the rest are listed for you on the paper there. Do we have any questions? Seeing none, looking for approval.
Moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kaag. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Fourth action item is consideration to authorize the borough solicitor and engineer to review the chapter 363, the sewers and sewage disposal in our ordinance book.
Do we have any questions on that? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, fifth action item is consideration of accepting a letter of resignation from the EAC board.
Probably got that in your second council packet. It's actually my resignation. With reorg coming up and new council members coming on, opening up a spot, and I've spent 5 good years on EAC and found out recently that I've just run out of ideas. So, but I do have ideas for a lot of other spots. So when reorg comes up, we'll get everything sorted out. But for now, this will open up a spot on EAC. So looking for somebody to accept my letter of resignation. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kaag. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And last but not least, consideration of appointing an associate member of the EAC to full voting member.
So Ty Gardner is at the EAC meeting. We voted to move him forward as a full voting member and looking to ratify that here tonight as council.
He would be taking Jim Keller's spot.
Technically, yes.
Yep. So there will be one open spot on the EAC. Motion made by Mr. Wert.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
That is actually all I have, other than to say thank you, everybody, for putting up with me for 30 years. Which is technically next month, not this month.
Yeah, well.
You were here part-time before that.
I saw it on a billboard.
Yeah, the billboard went up way ahead of time.
And
so
there's no rats or mice around that area right now either.
It's effective.
Seeing no questions on the borough manager's report, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler. Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the mayor's report.
So I do not have a physical mayor's report, but I'm willing to give a verbal if that is acceptable.
Go for it.
Okay, so November 24th, I did a firehouse visit with Zachary Shaver and Councilman Kaag, with Russell Sloan, who is from the Art Plus Gallery, with his nephew and daughter, I'm sorry, his grandson and daughter and son-in-law, to see the fire trucks. They were very, very ecstatic, loved the new truck, offered to house one if you ever want to get rid of it. They were very, very excited. They had a wonderful time. They did write a Christmas card, which was very wonderful. They're going to be reaching out to you directly, but they are also donating to the fire company as a thank you for allowing us to come in and show them the fire trucks and whatnot. So thank you, Chad, for being so hospitable with open doors at the fire company.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. 11/29 was the department meeting. I unfortunately was unable to make it, but I heard it was very successful. So thank you, Chief Tornelli, for taking head on that and leading such a wonderful department meeting and having good things come out of it. 12/4 was the tree lighting, which was wonderful. Thank you, Denise and Mike, who is not here. That's good. Thank you, Denise. And that was a wonderful event. And I'm really glad that, and Ryan for allowing me to use your announcer voice.
Oh, yeah.
Per usual.
Stick a mic in front of my face. It happens.
Yeah. 11:30, kind of sorry, bouncing around a little bit. I did do a course for Beyond the Battlefield. There is a veteran addiction crisis that is happening, and it tends to flare a little more around the holidays due to family qualms. So I did take some courses on that and get some insight on that I'd be sharing with Mr. Gardner, who is kind of heading a bit of a veteran group that he's trying to kind of implement here in West Reading at the Legacy Cigar Lounge. He was also owned by a Navy veteran, I believe. So very good.
Smart guy.
12/14, I met with Nick Price and Mark Radcliffe to say hello, welcome to the WCRF, and go over some ideas. He seems like a very wonderful, energetic gentleman, and I'm very excited to work with him, along with working with Mark a little longer. 12/15 was the Borough Christmas party, which was phenomenal, by the way. It was such a wonderful event. I'm very excited for next year. I have some ideas.
What are we dressing Polly as next year?
Yeah, exactly. On the following day, on Saturday, was the West Reading Borough Christmas party, which was also just as wonderful. Very, very welcoming. Isaiah Washington Gans, was the firefighter of the year, and Tim Eisenhower was the fire police officer of the year. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to, and thank you so much for everybody that contributes and volunteers their time here in the West Reading Borough. 12/16 was the Zerby, thank you. Photo ribbon cutting, which was wonderful and a great memory. I didn't realize that it was passed down from Dave Zerby to this gentleman, and he has been carrying on its legacy. If you go in towards the back, there's a picture of Dave and his infamous cameraman, fisherman vest, which is really, really cool. So really, really cool story. Wonderful spot that they have going on. They were having some pictures with Santa too. So it was really neat. And on the 17th after the Christmas, the Santa crawl, which was wildly popular, which is wonderful. Hopefully the businesses all got some fun out of that. And there, some of the council members, including Public Works and Dean, cleaned up a bit. I know Dean and Public Works and Ryan and some residents helped clean up Penn Avenue. And then Patrick, Ty, Zach, and I did basically all of 3rd and side streets. So we got a decent amount, and also realized that we need to do another bigger cleanup. Maybe EAC can kind of tack that on. And also congrats to our own Sergeant Holben for the 2023 Police Officer of the Year and Award of Honor for his due diligence over the Palmer's disaster. And thank you to Chris and Jen for being on council, not only when I was a council member, but as I was mayor. It has been an honor to work with you guys and butt heads with you guys and learn from you guys and grow with you guys. And I really, really look forward to continuing to see the amazing Finn grow and continuing to see everything that you guys do, and hopefully running into you at the farmers market.
Thanks.
Of course. And that is all I have. Oh, and congrats, Dean. I love you. You know that. And that is that.
Any questions on the mayor's report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Into department reports. First up, Police Department, Chief Tornelli.
I have my report that I submitted. The only, I guess, comments on that is all the events that we listed there. We had officers deploy either a dedicated officer to those events or directed patrols for those events. Everything went off without a hitch, with the exception of the Santa Crawl. We did have a pedestrian crash where 2 people were struck by a vehicle at 7th and Penn. Luckily, there were minor injuries, didn't have to get transported to the hospital, but that event was more heavily attended than we anticipated based on past years. So that will probably be a dedicated deployment next year for that event, as it seems to. My understanding was it kind of died off during COVID, and then it's been slowly ramping back up again to the point where this was actually busier than the night before Thanksgiving in the borough for folks out and about. So that definitely on the radar for next year to beef up the deployment for that.
Also might have been the first Santa Crawl to be 50 degrees outside.
True.
It was really good weather.
That didn't help. It wasn't like people like found a bar and hunkered down because they were too cold to go anywhere else. Like they were bouncing.
Right.
So
lots of people out is a good problem to have. It's something we need to stay on top of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all I have for my report, other than my action item.
All right, so they do have one action item, which is consideration of authorizing pre-approval of an officer to attend classes and receive college tuition reimbursement, in 2024 per the current CBA. Does anybody have any questions on that?
We need to name the officer.
You can.
We can.
Up to you guys. I think before we used to, but I wasn't sure if that was something we would continue.
Is there any reason why you don't want to?
No. I honestly don't have the name of the officer.
Do you know who the officer is?
It's Chad Marks.
Okay. So looking for consideration of authorizing pre-approval of Chad Marks to attend classes and receive college tuition reimbursement in 2024.
So moved. I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler, second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Any other questions on the police report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag. Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to Public Works. KT.
You have a copy of our report. Any questions, we were happy to answer it. Been a good year. I do have one action item.
You can go ahead with it.
I just wanted consideration to advertise to hire a part-time help.
We'd approve this during budget season for a part-time worker to begin in January and work all year round. Does anybody have any questions on consideration, authorizing, and advertisement for that part-time crew member? Otherwise, look for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, KT?
It's just 30 years. God.
You're right behind me,
You're not
dude.
far behind, so.
It's been a good year, though. I don't know if people realize what we all accomplished this year. I mean, we started that sewer runoff, that sewer project. We started, we did the Memorial Garden, we did the Fireside House, we did the baseball field. Over, I don't know if he's read my council report or not, but we were having issues with the water line up on Penn Avenue with the works. It broke 6 times. Well, it's 4 times one block, 2 times another block. It was laid in the bedrock and the 4-inch was bad. Broke another 3 more times. So I just cut it off. If you read my report, it wasn't necessary. I wasn't chasing an issue and wasting time and money. And we had a sewer main we repaired down there this month. Hopefully they're done, and I guess this is the last week for them. So,
Thankfully, I think you said tomorrow. Right?
UGI.
Yeah.
Right. And they have promised to re-blacktop what they've torn up. So,
It's
Curb to curb.
So for this month, this year, they talked about going through and all the ditch work that they did, ripping that out and rebindering it. So that way it's at least smoother for the winter time.
Yeah.
And it's not such a rumble strip for the plows. But they have a hot plant that's open that they're able to do that.
Okay. Is the expectation that they're going to repave once they're completely
They're
done?
definitely going to repave Penn Avenue from curb to curb.
Okay. Perfect.
are they just waiting for? Are they just waiting for the 600 and 700 blocks, or are they doing 500?
Next year they'll come back in probably in the springtime, and they'll do a mill and a lay like they did before.
Wonderful. Any questions on the Public Works report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler, second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to Fire Department. Chief Moyer.
I'll have a copy of my fire report. I don't really have anything special to bring up to you tonight. But if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for the Fire Department report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into Code Department. Chad, stick with you.
I have a copy of my codes report. The only thing during the discussion tonight that we probably want to think about is maybe making Santa Claus a special event permit next year. Definitely at the point where there are over 250 people outside of the establishments.
I talked to the owner today. He's good with that.
Yeah, we both talked to Mark.
Other than that, I once again be happy to answer any questions you have.
Quick question. 158, and I see you issued a notice of violation.
Yes.
To them requesting their plan of action. Have we had any contact with them at all?
I've reached out to the owner twice, asking him for more information, and he is very dismissive, basically just telling me, you know as much as I know. And
really?
That's all I'm getting from him, yes. So I've asked for the name of his insurance agent contact, and he told me that he wouldn't give it to me, but he would provide them with my information, and I haven't received any contact from them. So getting a little sterner with him in terms of
yeah. I mean it's getting to a point where 158 Penn Avenue, Mr. Rogers. 158 Penn Avenue, right next to the Palmer explosion. There was a notice of violation issued by our codes office because we haven't heard much of anything from the owner. And, you know, like I'm getting a little irritated that, and now I hear like we're getting kind of pushed off. You know, something needs to give here because that's talk about a blighted structure where windows are bashed in and it's raining and it's snowing. We've had it already graffitied once. And, you know, we've got fencing around it. At some point, that fencing will likely need to come down at some point in the future, but it just can't sit there for an indeterminate amount of time while what is going on their end. You know, you would think, and I'll say it, a responsible property owner would have some answers as to what's going on. this is a large building sitting right when you drive into Penn Avenue with bashed out windows and a big fence around it, and half the building blown away in the back. So, you know, like, I'd be very interested to know what their response is to this violation, if any at all. And if there's not a response, then I don't know what our next steps are, but.
We definitely have, the borough does have some recourse there. Right now, the notice has been sent certified mail, waiting for the return receipt back of the time frame to end, and then we'll move forward with our next step. I mean, there's definitely some recourse for the borough to take action. It's a dangerous structure. It's in violation of the property maintenance code. Matter of how far the borough wants to get involved in a situation that could end in litigation somewhere else. Dan, if I'm overstepping or if I'm not on the right track.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think Phil's correct, though. At some point, they need to take action.
Yeah.
We can push them to take that action. There's a question about the spoliation of evidence as it relates to the explosion, I'm sure, but we can still, they have to take action to make sure that they're moving forward. They can just sit there forever. So I think that,
you know, we know the Palmer people, they have remediated their buildings and their properties to the best of their ability in order to secure things, in order to make things more safe. They've done their part. They're obviously still involved and have to make a decision on the remaining structures, but I have seen very little.
And
the Wicks
started working on it pretty much right away, and you see how I mean, their work started occurring within the last month. So that kind of time frame, when they started doing their work, I still don't have any plans. I agree. It's time for them to do something.
Right. Okay. I know you'll stay on top of it. I read that and it stuck in my craw a little bit, and I figured I'd ask you about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the code department report? Excited to see the potential Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu establishment at the old bank. That's something.
Are you joining up?
Probably not.
Okay.
Thinking of doing yoga with Denise, though.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on the code report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Lincoln, second by Mr. Wert. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the CRF report. Mark and Nick.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for the accommodation. Necessary, but much appreciated. My goal when I came here was to make our Main Street better than what it was when I found it. I feel like we've done that. Decided to hand the baton off to Nick. I want to introduce Nick to everybody. This is Nick Price. He'll be taking over. Well, he's already stepped in, so I look forward to working with him as he gets his footing. Welcome, Nick.
Welcome, Nick.
With that said, you have my report. If you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions on the CRF report? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Token of appreciation is also a citation from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Would you like me to read it?
No.
You sure? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. No, you're just clapping because I didn't have it.
Nick, anything to say to everyone?
Everyone that I met so far has been great. You know, one of the things, taking a whole new career, you don't know what you're going to go into, but everybody's been so accommodating. Mark had said it's one well-oiled machine, and I'm seeing that. And everybody just has been really positive, and I appreciate it. It's you know, it can be nervous when you walk in and you're the new guy, but I don't feel that, you know, and I appreciate that everyone's been. Thank you. I look forward to working with everyone and continuing one more film.
This Borough Council here has been the best Borough Council.
Nice. Thank you. Hope to keep it that way with 2 new members coming up. Does anybody have any questions for the CRF report? Seeing none, looking for approval. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Kaag. Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to committee and commission reports, EDI task force. Jen, do we have anything?
We did not have a meeting this month. I'm hoping that, I think things got a little crazy by the end of the year. I'm hoping new blood on the council to bring in new ideas and new enthusiasm for the task force, because I think it is.
Great.
Thank you for everything you've done on it and the work that you put in.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be sure to reread the proclamation, the resolution again next year. So
We will be sure to bring you in on it. I think they'll
Please
expect to be there.
come to that. All right, we'll move on to Recreation Commission. Since we have no Mike, Denise, you want to take a crack at it?
I will. Mike left his report for us. Recreation is wrapping up the year, of course, with the Christmas tree lighting that came off pretty well for having to be moved due to torrential rains. But also Mike's a little under the weather, so we have not announced the winners yet of the house decorating contest, but stay tuned. They have been determined. We're excited to work on next year's slate of events. And Mike is also working on with Ryan on modernizing the procedures to sign up for pool and playground. So stay tuned for that to become a high-tech thing with a lot more payment options, and it should be really terrific. So we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I think I spoke about it last month, but yeah, moving towards electronic registration for pool and playground. So we no longer need to print off a PDF file, fill it out and mail it, or drop it off at the Dropbox, or somehow make it here between 8 and 5. Just provide
spreading payments out for
more options that will allow people to spread payments out as well. So they can have multiple payments over multiple months leading up to pool and playground opening. So yeah, it's all really good, and we're hoping to have that up by January 1. So thank you to Helen too for helping set up some kind of workflow for Mike. No, it's actually exciting because they'll submit the application and Mike's going to act as the first point of contact for them. So he'll call them up to set up payment, which will also give us a nice first touch of customer service, and he'll be able to answer any questions right off the bat by actually talking to a real live human. Who would have thought? So, but no, all good things.
Going to include like prorated fees for people that move in mid-season.
I think we can probably accommodate for that. It'll provide a lot more options for us. Yeah, great. Anything else for recreation?
When was the last time that the holiday tree lighting had to be moved due to rain?
Never.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
like
5 years.
We've had ice, snow, sleet, but
Power outages.
yeah.
Yeah, we had that one night where like half the borough lost power in the middle of tree lighting.
I mean, you guys did a great job moving that.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I think we came away with some sort of bright ideas for maybe updating it a little bit, rearranging the schedule a little bit, maybe getting the tree lit up early in the event and getting Santa there sooner. And maybe we'll do like a Thursday, Friday, have a rain date and an event. Like maybe the event would be Thursday and Friday would be the rain date.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Just something that makes more sense for nights that people are likely to come out. I will say we got a really great turnout for a Monday.
yeah,
And the kids had fun.
yeah. You guys did a great job putting that together still. And
Right.
you got a pretty good crowd still.
Ironically, the program was shortened a little bit because some of the performers couldn't come on Monday. And I think that was better.
Yeah.
Because we didn't hold people there too long. It was chilly.
Yeah.
It was actually good vibes making it
agree.
shorter.
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah, my 1-year-old can't make it an hour before seeing Santa.
No.
15 minutes tops.
Right.
So.
Right. There's no reason to make the kids wait that long. So we'll stay tuned.
All right. If that's it for recreation, if nobody has any questions, looking for approval of their report. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Kaag. Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. On to planning. Phil.
We are still in the midst of discussing some zoning updates with Dirk and Edson, which we retain in order to help us out with that.
So most of the meeting was having a Zoom discussion with our contacts there. It was a relatively short meeting. We have continued our discussion on mechanical equipment in the front yard. That language will likely be finalized next month, I'm hoping. And then we'll move that on to the recommendation process and then here at some point in the next probably 2 months max. So other than that, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions for Planning Commission? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler, second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. EDC, Phil.
So you've heard some of the things already, how the Santa Crawl was this past weekend, and I was leaving the borough at around 6:30 to go to a Christmas party out of town, and at Fourth and Penn, it was a sea of humanity rolling down the sidewalk, and that's not even like the quote busy part of the avenue when it comes to drinking establishments, but people were out, and it was 50 degrees like we had said earlier. And to the chief's point and to Chad's point, it's likely going to just, grow. I was being egged on to come out, but I had other commitments and I wasn't about to fight the crowd. But anyway, I'm sure it was, but I'm old. Yeah, but I feel old. That's
even worse.
Yeah, that's right.
He lost more of his hair.
I did.
That was self-inflicted earlier today.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I did notice, it's we always have flux on the avenue with businesses coming and going. I did see today, unfortunately, Noodle is going to close.
I did see that, yeah.
And I hadn't got a chance to talk to Kevin about that. I guess it just didn't work out for him.
I had talked to him today, and he's going to put a sign up this weekend
for renting.
He was asking me about how much for rent, and I
Sure.
paid it.
Right.
But the shame of it is he wants to put another restaurant in, but it doesn't have gas equipment. It's all electric. You don't have a.
So it's limited in who can come in. Yeah.
I gave him 2 names of people that when Bedformers closed who wanted to go in, but I think they want a kitchen.
Sure.
Even Benchwarmers didn't, when it was Slim Pickens, he didn't have a range. He was working with what he had.
No, because I owned it. I set him up for business. Yeah. He had a hood. He had a hood prior. But the hood's been there forever.
Right.
That's kind of what the crap. And he doesn't have grease trap there. But maybe there'll be some type of business that's not a restaurant. It's create space.
Right. Yeah. So, I was out Friday night at Nitro for dinner. We walked past and it was open and there was not a soul inside. Just there was no one there, and it was dinner hour, and the motor club and Nitro right next door, busy, broken chair, busy, nothing. I don't know. So it's sad to see establishment come and go like that, and Kevin has been committed to the borough and in other ways as well. So I'll probably reach out and just get his read on it.
That'd be nice.
But anyway, but it's things evolve, things, a Main Street is like an organism in a lot of ways. It evolves, it grows, it matures, so it's, sorry? Yeah, I did hear that as well. So Patrick, you didn't buy enough.
I've been buying. I have half stock in their company. I've been buying stuff every month.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's just not enough foot traffic for that particular product stuff. There's some. It's happened before in the past. You'll have a really great idea. It's you know, either it's the particular property or it's just there's just not enough foot traffic to support that, you know, here. So, but then other locations are awful and the business that goes in just kills it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, look at Tony's. I mean, that is not an ideal location for a restaurant at all. And he kills it, you know. Or even, you know, Mom Chaffee's been there forever. I live over there. I mean, it is like no parking, like tight as can be. And that place is jam-packed every night of the year. So it can work in these oddball locations. It's just a matter of whether the business idea is one that the community will support. So I'm hoping that those Santa Claus folks, some of them, you know, maybe they haven't walked the avenue for a while. You know, maybe well, I didn't know that was here. Oh, geez, it's been a while since I've been over here or what have you. I think on some degree, we're still crawling out of the COVID hole. You know, people formed bad habits during COVID when it comes to interacting with their neighbors, when it comes to interacting with their community. And I think we have to relearn some things, you know. So we'll see. I mean, buying all your stuff online is kind of boring. You know, I don't care how convenient it is. It's kind of boring. So hopefully people were looking for a little bit more, you know, face-to-face interconnectivity as we go forward. And, you know, anyway, we'll see. But anyway, next month is a new year. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions on the EDC report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver. Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to EAC, Pat.
Before I start my report, I'd like to read something for Jen and Chris. Jen, these are your words back in 2019 when you ran. Over the course of my career in life, I've witnessed the benefits of positive, thoughtful engagement in organizations and communities. I've had the honor of working with enthusiastic individuals who are willing to work hard for the good of others, who care about the people and the families and the future of their communities. I've been given the opportunity to contribute my own passions to the efforts necessary in planning and maintaining our thriving borough. And those are your words. And this is for both you and Chris. Those words are true to who you are and have been consistent with your service to this community. Sitting next to you for all these years, you've shown me what it means to be patient, to seek better understanding through observation and listening, and to have the strength to disagree. You and I may not have agreed on how to approach some of the challenges we face as a borough, but I will always respect you for your grace and your truth. I'm not sure where your next adventure will take you, but it's important that you know the example that you have provided. A job well done.
Make me cry.
My hands have been smiling this whole time. Anyway, back to my report. You guys should have November 27th meeting minutes in front of you. That was our last meeting for EAC. Two things of note to bring up. January 21st, we are having a post-holiday free market down at the Bicentennial House. We're giving parents and people about a month after Christmas to gather old toys, clothing, and stuff that they can donate to some other people in the community, some people who may not be as fortunate, or some people just looking for different size clothing for their kids and not have to buy them over and over and over again. So that's going to be happening down at the Bicentennial House on January 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then on April 21st, we are combining both the Earth Day cleanup and the free market. So it's going to happen on the same day. So basically you can show up to the pavilion at 10 a.m., put all your stuff out to be given away and donated. And then you can come out with us in the borough and clean up the cloverleaf, the avenue and the side streets. And that's also from 10 to 2 p.m. And that's again on April 21st, which is a Sunday.
Never thought I'd say this, but hopefully all your stuff is gone when you get back from cleaning.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping. Figured I'd bring them both together. So the free market has been doing very well. So we want to keep that going. And the Buy Nothing community has come forward and helped us campaign and get the word out. And we've been getting more and more traction with it. So I'm hoping that it's kind of a thing that runs itself from here on out. But if you have any other questions, you can see the report in front of you. You know, if there's anything else you have questions on.
Any other questions on the EAC report?
That is April 21st.
Yep. So the post-holiday free market is going to be on January 21st, and that's going to be down at the Bicentennial House from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the Earth Day cleanup and free market is going to be on April 21st, same time. That's going to be at the pavilion. And then we'll also be posting about this on the EAC, on Voices, and all other. We'll try to get it on the borough website, any newsletters that come up.
Are you going to help people hide the fact that they're giving away gifts they just received?
The purpose of the whole event.
Mine's just old kids' toys.
I didn't want to call it the regifting free market.
It kind of sounds like.
Trying to encourage people to not throw away items and not give it to Goodwill. I'm not a big fan of Goodwill. I'm a fan of keeping it in the community and having people exchange, not have to buy things.
I love it being at the Bicycle House too. Gives people a chance to see it who it hasn't seen.
Okay. Yeah, it looks wonderful. The Bicycle House looks.
We had a great conversation at the last EAC talking about different ways that we can introduce this. We want to have this event so large that it takes up the entire field down at the pavilion.
That would be awesome.
We want to have a lot of people there. We want to have this big a county event. So we're working towards that.
Any other questions on the EAC report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
On to T9, Chris.
Thank you. As my last one, I will keep this brief. I think we touched on most everything already in our ordinance actions at the beginning of the meeting. One item of note or interest is we've talked over the past months about the Lofset Narrow driveway to Elm Street and the problems that was causing and concerns that were raised. We've coordinated, Public Works and Carrie specifically have coordinated with the property owner. Stop sign has been installed, and now a speed bump has been installed in the parking lot to reduce speeds of people coming in and out of that access. So we're hopeful that we will see some improved actions by those drivers as they come in and out of there. And if not, then we'll continue to look to address that in other ways. Other than that, I have a few things to say, but I'll wait till the end of the meeting and I will take any questions you may have on the report.
Any questions on the Traffic and Infrastructure Committee report?
Yes. How will we continue without you? Like some of that.
Are you saying I mean,
how are you?
If council so chooses, I'm happy to continue volunteering on the traffic.
Trust me,
Thank God. Sold.
Thank God. Trust me, I've read the T&I ordinance up, down, and sideways to make sure that we could keep Chris on there. We can.
Okay.
Thank God.
We can add as many or as few community members as we'd like. So
Wonderful.
That is appreciated.
Start with Chris.
Thank goodness.
Any other questions for T&I? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kaag. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Shade Tree was canceled, so Safety Committee. Dean.
We're safe. We had a bunch of people just there was we had two separate days of first aid CPR training. There's a good bulk of people inside the borough, whether it's officials or staff, have been trained. So it's nice to see the numbers that want to continue to know and update their knowledge. And I know the fire company does a lot down at the firehouse too, with making sure everybody stays up to date with that. So yeah, we're good to go and moving forward.
Any questions for Safety Committee? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Kaag.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the treasurer's report. First up is consideration to approve the transfer of $300,000 from Pliget Prime to M&T Bank. As we know, first quarter is usually the lean quarter until taxes start rolling in, so we need to pull over a little bit extra from the Prime account. I think I got that right. Right, Jeanette and Helen? All right.
That's correct.
That. Otherwise, looking for approval. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Lincoln.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the 2024 budget adoption. It advertised it. It's been available for everyone to come and look at with Cindy. So now we are looking for consideration of adopting the 2024 budget and not needing to meet the day after Christmas.
So moved.
Yeah.
Motion made by Mr. Faber.
Second.
Second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next action item is consideration of approving the 2024 municipal tax sheet respective millage rates. Jeanette, do you want to touch on this one?
The tax rate sheet just states that raising the general purpose tax 1 mil.
This goes to the Berks County Treasurer's Office. Looking for approval on that. Motion made by Mr. Wert.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the financial statement you have in front of you for the 11 months ending on November 30th. And then also the payment approval reports, one from 11/22 to 12/14 and one for 12/15 to 12/19. To review, if anybody has any questions, feel free to make them known. Once when you're ready, looking for consideration.
Did you ask for a motion? I'm sorry.
Motion made by Mr. Wert.
Second.
Second by Ms. Drobnick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. That opens up the second round of public comment. Anyone in the audience? Mr. Rogers, have at it.
We have a little bit of background information that you covered, considering the orders when it comes to parking. Real estate doesn't feels, is that possibly with the doctor's office building or some other place? What is?
Essentially, it's with all the hospital properties that are subject to whether they're subject to taxes or not right now. And there's a couple of specific appeals that we're working on with the school district at the moment. That's correct. That's correct. Yep.
They're taking the charge on all of that.
Maybe that's what a problem. You could say school district. You know, it's the only property there.
Yep.
I know of something else. I was thinking with the Palmer, with their building and so from the 120, 158, 10 Avenue. The action as far as cleaning up the property, 2nd and 10 Avenue. Assessment of some sort. Borough and first.
We'll cross that bridge when it gets here. All right. Anyone else for public comment, either in person or online? All right, seeing none, I will close the floor to public comment. And not to push this on anyone, but Chris and Jen, I think you should make the motions to adjourn.
Before that happens.
Dang it.
You've all learned by now that I don't talk any more than I have to. So I will keep this brief. It will not be 25 minutes. But I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for the 9 years that I've sat in this seat, or at least one of the seats on this side of the table. To everyone sitting here, certainly I've enjoyed my time, and I consider it a privilege to be able to serve the borough, and I think we've done good work over that time. Beyond that, the staff, all of the staff, public works, police, admin especially, you must be one of, if not the best staffs in this region. It's been amazing to work with you. You all work extremely hard with an extremely high workload and managed to get everything we need on this table, you know, every month to be able to keep the borough functioning. So thank you for all of that. And finally, to our residents and property owners, I appreciate you coming to these meetings month after month. I know it can be a lot, and it can be very easy to sit at home and, complain to your neighbors or complain to, the social media realm. But I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate getting positive feedback, and the criticism. It's nice to be able to interact face to face to help you address issues that happen in the borough. And I just want to thank you all for that. With that, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I echo everything that Chris has said.
You can't just throw up quotations.
No, it's been
Yeah.
a privilege to work with this borough council. It's been amazing to work with the staff. You are absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you do for council, for me personally, for the borough, for residents, business owners. You're gold. And the residents, it's just been an honor, and I just feel so privileged to have sat here for the time that I did, and I will definitely appreciate all the councils in the future for the work that they put into it. It's been great. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I will make this quick. It's a reminder, really, and everyone knows that I teach for a living. And this year I'm teaching a new class for ninth graders, which is just civics. It's just government stuff, and it's my favorite. Like I eat it up every day. And they see that of course I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for a little while and I've been teaching that for a while. But it always reminds me, and it should remind all of us that, public service is literally what the entire country was built on. I mean, literally, if you go back and read your history books or what have you, the trust that the Constitution provides for the states, and then the states take that trust and then disperse that down to the lower entities that they're comprised of, the counties and the municipalities, to decide for themselves how they're going to run their communities within reason. And then it's incumbent upon us to do a good job, not just us, but I mean, we as community members and as Americans. And not to sound cliche, but that's really what it's about. And so those of us that sit here, and those of us that show up to listen and participate, it's literally the essence of what it means to be an American. I mean, and we can never forget that, because if you take your eye off the ball is when you risk everything. And so you have to be ever vigilant, because the system is built on trust and vigilance. And lest we be lazy, lest we get distracted with other things, lest we fight amongst ourselves over things that at the end of the day really aren't things, we forget what all the folks that, either put their quill to parchment hundreds of years ago, or fought on a battlefield somewhere, or continuing to represent this country at a council table, or in the ranks of the military, or in Washington or Harrisburg, what have you. That's really what this is all about. We fight over stop signs and sewer pipes and, things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, we know why we're here. We just sometimes forget that. And we have to remind ourselves that that's really what it's all about.
That was less than 15 minutes.
Perfect.
Well said. We were promised 15 minutes. Well said.
That like just the tables, if we could just get one group photo so I can remember us. Yeah, because like this was we went through a lot this year, guys, and I'm so great. Even Tornelli, you were there. I'm so grateful
Saw him in
to
the truck. He was there.
I know. I'm so grateful to have gone through this year with you guys and be able to experience this council with you guys and experience this council as a whole. Like I know it's so cliche and it's like, you know, you kind of are a group because like you're kind of like a family and everybody has their own opinions and thoughts and we've really honed in how to have our own and still be respectful. And I would have not wanted to go through this year with any other borough or any other council than you guys. And I really, really appreciate everything that I've learned from you guys and growing with you guys and just Dean, Cindy, especially like just the learning that I'm getting from you guys and in the polishing that I'm getting. And I really appreciate that I was able to experience you guys. So I'm a picture
Honestly,
person.
it's been the entire 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
Like,
agreed.
This whole term has been COVID and then
agreed.
bookended by
completely
really horrible disaster.
Yeah. Agreed. But I'm a picture person, so if you guys don't mind, like the table, if we could do like a little group photo before we head out of here.
Maybe not on camera.
Yeah. I mean, like after, like we can adjourn and then do it. I just want to make sure.
Anyone else? Otherwise, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second by Ms. Bressler, second by Mr. Lincoln. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I sure hope not. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you January 2nd.
Yeah, I wanted to do a post something.